Hello there and welcome back to Midlife Rises. I'm Cheryl. I crash landed into 2020. I got up and dust myself because that is what I do. But I'll tell you, the year 2019, I actually spent the entire time just observing life, observing people, and so on. And now here I am to go over some stuff with you. We are in our midlife, and the show is called Midlife Crisis for a reason. We don't want to spend time doing midlife crisis because that is the regular thing. Once you get past 40, that is what starts to happen to a lot of people. Because of my psychology background, I will tell you why that's happening. I mean, we've done emotional intelligence a few times. The last one I did a woman to woman. I guess the background was a little kind of disconcerting. So the message that I was trying to put out, people were a little distracted. So I'm going to sit here and talk to you again about issues that I'm sure you're having and things that I believe will help you. One of the things that I've decided to do with my spare time is to dedicate what I know as a form of giving back. And so we talk about different things here. We talk about aging. Our very first show, I sat with a psychologist and we talked about why women do not want to discuss their ages. I mean, men and women are having the issue, but this is a woman's talk show. So we're pretty much gearing everything that we do towards the woman's part of it. We were discussing why women do not want to discuss our ages, and all of that actually intertwine with what I'm going to discuss with you today. So take a few minutes and sit with me and let's chat, because it is a very serious topic. And for the women that are upcoming, you will get there eventually, and information that I am about to share with you is something that I'm sure you'll find quite useful in future years. So also sit in. Now, Midlife Rises was developed basically to give women the hope and inspiration to just bloom within their midlife years, because I mean, we get slammed with everything. We get slammed in Hollywood, in regular everyday life. And it's because we're not being allowed to advance in age, if you will. And so Midlife Rises was opened up so that we can bring you real life instances where women are getting to 40, past 40, into their 50s like myself, and they're just looking to bloom and do the things that they enjoy. Women are going towards 50 and 60, and a handful of us are actually just living our lives. So I want to sit here with you today and go over some of the things that I have noticed and some that I know for a fact is going to be beneficial to you, because if you continue the way I know you are going, it's not going to be a healthy thing, physically or mentally. So emotional intelligence, I think we had like maybe 3 or 4 shows on this, and it's because it's a very serious situation. It's a serious thing to be familiar with, and some of us go through our lives without even knowing what that really is. Now, I've done advanced psychology, and I learned about emotional intelligence in a writing class because I also have advanced writing in my studies. Emotional intelligence is the ability to know one's emotions, the emotions of others, and then use that knowledge to act accordingly. And that is not happening. So what you find is a lot of us are advancing in age, and we are just going about life. And it is happening with our men, it's happening with the women, it's happening with our children. I know that it's a choice. It is a choice that we are all making on whether or not we're going to pay attention to this topic. Things that I'm watching in everyday lives, it is something that we need to start paying attention to. So the first thing I want to talk about is your emotions. We're talking about anger and, envy, jealousy, all of these different things, loneliness, sadness, they're all falling under the topic of emotions. And if you are not aware of what makes you tick, you're not going to be able to identify with what is taking place with you, and you are going to be lashing out, especially women, because when we get to midlife, something happens. I myself have never experienced, any kind of menopausal reactions. Thank God. I think it's genetics. I don't know. But It is something that is very common. So we're not just talking hot flashes, we are talking hormonal imbalances. And so, for men and women at this point, you have experiences as you move into your midlife. So whether it's a man with a woman that's not showing the right amount of love, and conversely, a woman that is with a man that is not doing the right thing, it's the same issue. We are all having it. But again, this is a woman's talk show. I'm not saying a man shouldn't sit in. Take what you can from it, but this is being addressed to women because I will give you stories on exactly what I have been dealing with, and it's mainly women. And that's one of the reasons why I started Midlife Rises. Outside of the midlife crisis, we are doing certain things to ourselves and things are being done to us. So I'm just gonna again run through the different topics because in some cases we are our own enemy and we look for someone to take it out on, whether it's, it's a boss that you work under, a woman boss, whether it's, you are the one in control in your home. But I am going to sit and talk about different experiences that you have in midlife. And if you have emotional intelligence, it can help you to be aware of what you're experiencing and move accordingly. So the first thing I want to talk about is envy and jealousy because that's something that I've had to deal with all of my life. And because of that, I don't have a lot of friends, and I am seeing the ones that I've grown up with and valued as a friend, some as close as a sister, and I'm not interacting with them anymore, and it has a lot to do with envy and jealousy. Competition. You will not want to compete with someone if you had a good idea on exactly what it is that you want, what you need to make you feel whole. Competition is something we do in my book when we are confused. When we are confused on exactly what it is that we need to feel, fulfilled. If you had something or a vision, you could say, that you were working, something that you were working towards, you will not have time to compete with anyone. That stuff is exhausting. And you know what else it does? It makes you lose your focus. It's very common, I guess, but the world would be a better place if everyone understood exactly what it is that they need to make themselves happy. So we wouldn't run for the bigger house. We wouldn't run for a luxury car that we can't afford. We wouldn't, be in a job that we're not feeling fulfilled with if the focus was in the right place. It all intertwines with emotional intelligence. I started the show saying that I spent 2019 just observing. I'm always doing that. I've always done it. When I started in the corporate world, I would go home and I would try to figure out why was this one, behaving like that towards me? Because I am always happy within myself. Happiness is something that is not acquired by material things. And a lot of us get confused with that. You look at someone and you say, oh my God, they're living the American dream. Why do they look like that? That's because happiness is something that comes from within. What you are experiencing is something that is not brought on by material things. I'm going to go back to emotional intelligence because it's all your emotions. It is all a balance of emotions. So loneliness, sadness, anger, vindictiveness, envy, jealousy, it is all part of emotional intelligence. When you get to middle age, and we're talking getting towards 40, 50, you get to this age and you don't understand who you are as an individual, that is extremely dangerous. Our first show was talking about why women do not want to discuss their ages. I mean, I have family and friends that would not comfortably come out and say, oh, I'm 50, oh, I'm 60. They would even have a birth date and they would not discuss it. I mean, society is doing that to us as well. But what is it that you need to make you feel whole? I'll take myself, for example. I started out in the corporate world, as I said before, and I suffered in it. I suffered because, A, I believe I went into the wrong environment, like the wrong field. I do fashion modeling because I know I'm attractive. I don't need anyone to tell me that. I'm not blind, I can see. But the beauty really is inside, because I have worked over the years to develop myself as an individual. You can be 100 years old and be immature, not fully developed. Why is that? That is happening because the individual did not take time to understand who he was as an individual, and so he just aged. He or she just advanced in age and never worked to grow as a human being. And when I say that, I mean having principles. As far as I know with psychology, certain things happen to us to cause us to develop into the individuals that we are. But I know for a fact that some of these things are choices. You make the decision whether or not you're going to be giving yourself any level of education. You decide whether or not you're going to be a happy person. You decide whether or not you are going to be a missile waiting to land. These are all choices that we make. It all reverts back to, what is the self-talk that you are doing? What is the story that you have been telling yourself? And these things happen from the different experiences that we have. You know, I've been constantly attacked on jobs. I went into the corporate world because I like business. Years ago, I used to work for attorneys doing help desk training, that kind of thing. And I always used to wonder, why are some of the attorneys who are coming in from the Metro North area, so obviously they're coming from really gigantic homes in the Westchester area. I'm living my regular day life, but I'm coming in and I'm excited. I'm excited about the job I do because I like what I do. I'm excited about life because I have a life. I am doing the things that I like outside of my job. I don't look it, but I am a very simple person, and I like the simple things in life. I like nice things, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is that I like to thrive, to be happy. And my experiences have been crazy, and it is because of the emotional intelligence part. So because of all that was happening to me, I spent each day trying to figure out, why did this happen? Why did this one respond? And so when you start examining what it is that you did, what it is you said, why did someone react that way towards you, you start to develop self-awareness, self-realization, and that helps you to in turn watch, be conscious. I mean, I'm a Sagittarian, and it is noted that our candor is out of control. What I'm saying to you is to be conscious of the way you treat others, because the way you tell someone's character is you watch how they treat you when they know that you need them. That is a very clear way to judge someone's character. And we are not building that. We are not building that because we don't feel that we need to do it. And so a lot of us, again, are doing the robotic thing, and we get to midlife, and it's like, what's going on? You know, for the women part, we're having these hormonal imbalances anyways. Things are happening in the background. And so with that clashing with you not understanding who you are and what you need, it becomes a perfect storm. So I am saying to you today, I don't know what New Year's resolution you made for yourself, but try to be conscious of the things that you do, the things you say, and the way in which you treat others. Because if you are a boss, if you are the stronger one in a relationship, a marriage, you have to watch how you're treating others. Which brings me to my next topic. In the everyday life where women get to midlife, myself, for example, I'm divorced and I have 3 grown children. Like my first son, I'm comfortably going to tell you, is 38 years old. I'm not 60 yet, I'm on my way there. But am I afraid of getting older? No, because I am comfortable in my skin. I have done experiential empathy over the years. And what that is, if you don't know, it means that I have put myself through certain experiences so that I will know how someone else feels. Putting myself in someone else's shoes is what I'm trying to say. And so the years went by where I went into work 9 to 5, I went home. That was it, my family life and so on. I never knew what was going on in the background. It's only when I changed my profession, I started getting involved with sales because I also like sales. I have a few things that I enjoy doing, and I am busy going after those things because I like to feel that psychic satisfaction. I like to be happy. And so my priority is giving back to the universe, because then I can say I shared what I know. I gave back. And along the way, when I get to what I want, then I will be like fully satisfied. I do not have time to think about, I got to this age and I don't have this and I don't have that. I have made major moves. I went to Trinidad, that's where I'm from originally, and I went over to Miami and I experienced what it was like to live in that culture. And what I saw there was very disturbing, because it is basically a very nice house, but then I had to drive all the way downtown to get to my job. I knew that it wasn't for me. So I left the beautiful home. What I'm trying to show you is, if I had the mentality where I want to move around like Queen It, so that I can use that to say, I have this and I have that, and what do you have? When you spend time doing that, you lose track of what you need to make yourself happy. And that is why I believe today a lot of us are suffering from bipolar diseases. We have depression, anxiety. I mean, I myself have some issues with anxiety, but that's because I'm just high on life. And sometimes I go into overload. But as far as my comfort and my happiness, that is my priority. And I would recommend, I'm not saying to be irresponsible. I'm saying be conscious of what you need to stay balanced, happy, and healthy, because we are really kicking the bucket very early now. I just lost 2 family members, if you've watched past shows, and it was because of stress. Stress is the #1 killer today. And we all are having these mental issues, because we are not focused on what it is we really need to make ourselves happy, balanced, and comfortable, like healthy, physically and mentally. Before you can make any changes to yourself, you need to understand what it is you need to make yourself happy, what it is you need to feel whole, and then everything else will fall into place. Thrive to have your comfort. I mean, we all want to be financially secure. It doesn't always work out that way because life gets in the way. I mean, look at me. I look like $1,000,000, and there are times that I am running into issues with my finances. I'm not ashamed to say it. I am on television telling you that I am wealthy. I am wealthy in knowledge. I am wealthy with empathy, sensitivity. I have godly principles. And I have that because I made the choice to do the right thing as time passed by. And I go after the things that I know I enjoy. Try to get away from competing and pay attention to what it is that you really need to make yourself happy, and go after it. Get a piece of real estate if you want it. I'm an agent. Touch base with me. Just do what it is that you want to do. And, we're getting beat up enough, ladies, by society. So why not work together to try and have smooth sailing into this thing? I'm going to give you a little story. I went and I worked for someone that had a large company, and she had to fold and, downsize, but not fold, but downsize. And I saw her ad. She was looking for a salesperson, and I went in, and she's woman-owned business, and I have something that I do as well. So I thought it was perfect. She's paying me a little bit of money with commission. My idea was to go in, and it wasn't for the monies. It was to be next to someone that's that powerful and that motivated. And for us to put our heads together, I would push to try and get her stuff done with sales, and we would work together in harmony. Now, she was crazy about me when I started, but after time passed by, the same thing transpired. And you know what it was? She was wondering, why in the world is this woman looking so happy with the little bit of money that I'm paying her? So she started talking down and trying to snatch my self-respect. I actually had to get away from this individual. I don't need to mention names, and it's not the first time it has happened. Before that, I went to a small company that was owned by a husband and wife. The husband hired me. The wife didn't talk against it. But once I started, same thing. There was talking down, and it was like she wasn't even sleeping. She was coming in and interrupting the flow of my getting to really use the skill that they paid me for. She was actually working to get me to lower my self-respect in order to keep that job. And these are the things that's happening. There's a wife that's doing that to her husband because he did not mature, and she's doing the mother-wife thing. There are women bosses that are talking down to their subordinate because they're looking at how this person is just coming in and being so happy. So if you are in a position where you are the boss or the one in charge and you're doing that to someone, don't. It is not a nice thing, and it will come back to you. I am saying to you today, try to find what makes you happy and do it. Because when you are behaving in that manner, nothing good will come out of that. I didn't realize how unhappy people were until I started doing sales. I got into a company that sold like packages for television and so on. In one instance, she came out, she was the homeowner, had like 3 jobs, could barely breathe, and she told me, I'm sick and I can't. I didn't know that people were doing that. She was killing herself. I don't even know if that individual is alive today. There's nothing wrong with wanting the best for yourself, but there is something very wrong with interfering with your temple when you know what it's doing. Your body tells you when it can't go anymore. It tells you when you're going to hit rock bottom. And you're supposed to listen, but a lot of us don't. And that's why we're sick. A lot of us are sick. So the emotional intelligence, it's a full circle of self-awareness, watching how you treat people, understanding your emotions to just be centered. Because that stuff is very, very important. And whatever you feel inside eventually permeates on the outside. And that's why a lot of us are looking a whole lot older than we really are, because we're grinding ourselves into the ground, and a lot of times it's because of competition. So try to be conscious of what you need and go after it, but go after it for the right reasons. The next thing I want to talk to you about is spirituality. What are your beliefs? God is love, and a lot of us are talking about being saved and we know the Bible cover to cover, but do you understand what it is to be a believer? That's very, very important, because if you don't have godly principles, that means that you're doing whatever you feel like doing to others, and it doesn't really matter. And it does. It comes back around. There is someone upstairs watching, and my dad was funny. He said, that guy, he's in his pajamas, but he never sleeps. And that is a very true saying. The other thing that I liked is I was talking to this guy one time, and I want to show this to you. He said to me, everyone's talking about what someone's doing to them and stuff like that, but let me show you something. And he did this to me. And he said, do you see that? That analogy is very heavy, because what it means is when something is up close, it's very hard for you to see it. So the only way that you can see is if you take time to pay attention, if you make the choice to start paying attention. As midlife women, we have so much that we deal with that I'm very surprised that we are doing what we're doing to one another. I'm very surprised. You have siblings that are not talking to each other, friends that were like sisters and they're not talking. It's a very, very sad thing. And it's all because of emotions, envy and jealousy. And I want to talk to you today about making a change with that. Just test drive it and see what a difference it will make. Because things are not going to get any better. We have a lot of things that we deal with. We've got aging parents. We've got disrespectful, manipulative adult children. And I'm talking from experience here. We have a lot that we need to be dealing with, that we need to be paying attention to, and our focus is all wrong. And it's very, very, very sad. Sad enough that I am interrupting the information, the excitement, if you will, that I have to bring to you to help you to bloom and just know, because we deal with a lot of middle-aged women that are doing big things, doctors, women that are running established companies, but there are a great deal, a great percentage that are not doing that. They are busy being missiles waiting to land. And as I said, we have a lot of serious things that we need to be paying attention to, and we need to stop with the craziness, because the sickness is out there. It is out there to take us over if we are not careful. And you've got to be able to understand who you are as an individual in order to fix things for yourself, not for anyone else, for yourself. Be careful with the way that you are going about life today. Try to be conscious of what you need to stay balanced and to stay centered, because I'm talking about emotional intelligence. Learn what you are about, learn about your environment, and try to be conscious of the way you treat people and the way you treat yourself, the drinking, the smoking, all of these things, because you need your temple. Everything should be done in moderation. You want to get into your 40s and 50s and 60s looking and feeling good. It's not going to happen if you are lighting up constantly or you're drinking. And we do this to escape from things that we're not able to deal with. But if you learn the tactics in which to cope, you won't have to turn to these items. You will stay centered. So let it be your New Year's resolution to try and learn more about emotional intelligence and see where it takes you in the years to come. Thank you so much for joining us. We come on the first and third Thursday of each month. Sometimes we throw in a little special. My name is Cheryl. I am the producer and host of Midlife Rises. We've got an online fashion magazine. These are all the things that I myself have a good time with. There's inspirational readings and so on. This thing is set up to take care of your business, entertainment, and fashion needs. We're just having fun with it. Do not take life too seriously. I'm saying take those trips and buy those shoes and just have a good time. Check us out at midliferises.com, and we will see you next time. Take care now.